Welcome to episode 5 of Home Buying 101 Lender Chat Series. And I'm sitting here with AJ Miller of Fairway Mortgage, the AJ Miller Group. Today, we are going to hit upon a topic that if you follow either of us, you have probably seen us post some KVU news stories about this thing called concrete cancer. And no, it doesn't cause cancer. It's the first question I always get. It's kind of like cancer in that it just erodes the pool from the inside out. So, AJ, you know more about it than anybody I know.
Yeah, well, I have it. So when I first got this back in 2020, and most of the pools are from 2020 to 22, a lot of it is Central Texas. I just kind of turned into an Aaron Brockovich situation where I wasn't hearing about a lot of it, and I just was putting it out there into the universe like we're doing right now, and just saying, like, who else has this? As I put that out there, and then I did a podcast on it and all these other things, I just could not believe at the scope of what has actually taken place here, especially Central Texas. Most of the pools that have this, for those of you that don't know what it is, it's a silica reaction from the concrete makers, from what we've been told or what we're seeing, that didn't put an aggregate inside of the material when they were building these pools. And to most of the builders out there, they didn't do it on purpose. It seems just like somebody's at fault, and we still don't really know what it is. What I'd like to talk about here is not so much about what it is and all that. It's if you're looking to buy a house that has a pool, or you're possibly going to sell your house that has a pool, what do we do? What steps you need to take? And there are definitely steps that you need to look at when you're buying a house that has a pool. And if you're going to sell your house that has a pool, what steps you need to take as well.
And from the realtor standpoint, I just want to educate people. If you've got a pool and that pool's value has been calculated into your appraisal, many people are going to be paying taxes on the total value for basically an unusable hole in the ground.
Right.
So what do we do there? So we're going to cover several things.
Let's start with maybe talking about you're a buyer and you're going out, and we live in Central Texas and it gets really hot. We're getting into pool season, and you want to buy a house that has a pool. The thing I try to get everyone to understand from the lending perspective when I talk to them is to protect my clients, right? So if they're going to go out and they're going to look for a pool, I try to get with their agent. So I would get with the agent and I would say, like, go look at all the pools, go look at all the houses. The questions are really simple. It's just, what year was it built? Who was the builder? And what material was used, and who shot the pool. There's 5 to 7 different people or companies that were out there that were pouring these pools that we've seen. Some companies don't really have any of these. A lot of them do. So it's trying to figure out, who built that seller's pool. And then what do you do when all of a sudden you love this house, and let's just say you go there and the pool does not show any signs of ASR or concrete cancer. What do you do? Well, you go and you ask those 3 questions. Some of the listing agents that are out there still have not really heard of this, which is why we're trying to go out. I try to talk to many different offices about, how to protect not only the realtors, but the sellers, the buyers, everybody from getting sued, because if you buy a house with one of these pools, there is a chance that obviously you're going to get sued. So how do we get around it? From the buyer's perspective, you go ask those questions. Something that comes up, and we have a couple Facebook groups that have, people that have it. We have over 1,000 people that are in that group that I'm an admin for. We ask them questions like, who built your pool? What year was it? Who poured your pool? All those questions. So we actually have a huge list of all these companies. Just because one of those companies did that, do they have it? No. But if you're a buyer, are you going to trust that you're going to buy something that you don't have any kind of real data that speaks to whether it does or doesn't have it, right? And there's only one way to decide that.
And the reason it's so important to find out is because, as I understand it, the only remedy is to basically, if you want a pool, have that pool dug out and have a new pool built.
Yeah. If you have it, we have not heard of any remedy or fix to this. So if you do buy a house that has a pool that does have it, I'm going through it right now. The insurance companies are not really paying. There's a very small amount of people that are out there. We're all in litigation. I've seen some people go, well, I'm pretty sure we have it. I haven't done the core test. So the only way to really test if a pool has it is they take a cylinder about this big, maybe multiple of them, and they ship it, and it comes back with ASR or inconclusive, or it doesn't.
That's an expensive test.
It's about $7,000. Yeah. So I'm dealing with a client right now who wants to sell his house. We went through all the questions together, and I said, look, the person that actually did the pool, they have very, very few, which was a really good thing, right? But I said, if you really want to sell this house and get top dollar for it, you're going to have to pay that money to give a clean bill of health almost to that house. And that will make your house more valuable right now because the pool was a newer pool. The house is a newer house. So, bodes you well to go ahead and do that test. And he's going to go ahead and do it. But if, what we've also seen is people that know they have it, they're going to reduce the price of the house for what the actual new pool cost is going to be. So if the house is $1 million house and they put in a $200,000 pool, they're willing to sell the house for $200,000 less. We haven't gone through a lot of the lending part of that, where when you do the appraisal, how does that look? And can we lend on it? Can we not? Whatever. It depends if the pool has water in it or like mine doesn't. So it is a moving target. It's a moving thing that we're having to deal with, which is it's so fresh and different and new in all the bad ways, but we don't really have a lot of true information on it.
So is there anything wrong if somebody wants to buy one of these houses? They really don't want a pool. They just love the house. Mm-hmm. Is there anything wrong with just filling the pool in?
Again, it comes down to if I'm going to go buy a house and I love the house and I look at the backyard and the backyard looks great, do I want to buy a house that has a buried pool in it? Because if you're going to go sell that house later down the road and somebody does want to put a pool in, they're going to have to pay to have that removed. You know what I mean? So that is probably one of the number one questions that why can't I just fill it in and just, put sod on it? Yeah. Well, you can if you're going to live in the house forever and die. But realistically, you're going to have to explain that, hey, by the way, when I go to sell this house, there is a pool buried in the backyard. It's kind of one of those things. So I keep telling a lot of people, before you go and sell your house for a $200,000 loss, you might only have to pay $50,000 to remove it and put sod in, which is going to save you a lot more money versus giving somebody a house that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, it's just things that you have to negotiate and figure out. But there really is no remedy to this other than removing it and rebuilding or removing it and putting sod in.
So back to, unfortunately, the people like your family that have a concrete hole in the ground.
Yeah.
I'm sure that your home appraisal from the county includes that pool.
Yep.
So what do? I called Williamson County Appraisal District, and what they said is to have all your documentation about what it is, because they hadn't even heard of it, and what the remedies are. Just make sure everything's as official as possible. When you get your appraisal notice, file protest immediately.
Yeah.
It's horrible enough that you've spent money on this pool and you have to stare at this empty hole.
Paying more taxes.
But now you're paying more taxes on it,
It is like I said, it's a constant moving target because insurance does not cover the pool. Yeah. Your homeowners does not cover the pool. So all the insurance that's tied to this is tied to the pool builder and the people that did all the work, and that's where the lawsuits are all kind of coming in. So that's a good idea to at least try to bring down your taxes, while you're still living in the home like we are.
And fighting it.
But ultimately, each pool that I see is so different right now because some people still have a swimmable pool and it hasn't leaked yet. Some people like mine, it's completely been barren for 2 years now.
It wouldn't hold water.
It was leaking like so much water that it was more dangerous for the pool, not only wasting water, but just the collapse of the pool and the weight from the back.
Oh, wow.
There's, like I said, each pool is different. Each situation seems to be different. Some people have the money to just go out and redo the whole thing, and that's awesome. Some people, like once you get into litigation, you're now sitting with this situation and you can't touch your pool if you're in litigation until they've done their findings. Because it's evidence. And therefore now we're kind of stuck and we're in bankruptcy and all this other stuff and trying to figure things out. So I guess my biggest thing with this is make sure that you're working with a professional even whether it's me on the lending side, the person that you're having sell your house, the person that you're having go out and look at houses with pools, your agents and the people that are on your team should really understand this. And if you're looking to find a house that you want to buy and put in a pool, I definitely have some people that I know that are in the pool business still that understand this, are using the right materials because they're still selling the materials. Not that maybe we'll have an ASR, but there's ASR approved and regular mixes that are still available. And we actually are in Congress right now trying to figure out ways in the Texas legislation to get bills passed so that we can eliminate that. So it should be there's no choice that is being made. So yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I have clients who are also very close friends who put in a pool last fall, and we started talking about it in spring. I sent him the videos and said you need to make sure you're asking these questions. And so far, so good. The company that they use, they're real happy with. And I asked you about the company, and you were like, I have not heard of any cases with them. So. Let's hope it stays that way.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't like giving referrals out because I don't want to get sued. But I can at least tell you, like, vet these people.
Yeah.
There's always a chance to get sued in anything you do.
Oh, yeah.
But at least these people know about it, and they can go through all of their steps on ensuring how they can get to make sure that you're obviously not going to get one of these pools that we have. But never take anybody's word for anything, and meaning, like, including mine. Like, take all the advice you can get and ask more questions. So that when you're making this large decision, whether it's building a pool, selling a house with a pool, the last thing you want to do is get into this lawsuit situation where it's a lot of money and it's a lot of problems. And just protect yourself. And I think everyone's getting to the point where we're all on the same team, not just to get sued or not get sued, but to do the right thing so that people are not going through the hell that my family's gone through for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a realtor the other day. I did bring this up. He agreed with me. He's like, we should be working to protect consumers.
Yeah.
If there's something wrong, we need to speak.
In most part, I think everybody is. I think it's just such a new thing that people just still aren't educated. We just developed a CE class for real estate agents that we're going to start in April. It's a 3-hour class to start teaching it, and I'm sure everyone's going to get signed up sooner or later so that everybody can understand it more. But we got a long ways to go. It's been a slow process, but I think the more information, the better. And we all want pools in Texas. I mean, I worked my butt off to put that pool in, and it's been my hell. I don't want that for anybody else.
Well, we appreciate you sharing that and being so willing to basically have a second full-time job and getting the word out and trying to advocate for people. So thank you.
You're very welcome. So if anyone needs me, you can message me or have my number. But yeah, I always tell people, like, if you can give me a loan, that would help. Obviously, being a lender, but I'm definitely here to answer questions and give advice where I can, so no one goes through this.
Yeah, and AJ is a great resource for realtors and buyers, homeowners. If you got stuck with one of those 8% loans, when rates come down, give AJ a call. I mean, rates have come down.
Yes.
They're not 8%.
No, they're not. We're in the 6s again.
But refi.
Yeah, whatever you need.
Give this man a call. Yes. So thanks so much, and we will see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.